Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the news today edition of 14th of August, wherein we try and make all important news today in the most simplest format for you guys to understand. So let's look at the important topics which we're going to discuss today. Firstly, there has been a coral bleaching event in the Western Australian region. India's first commercial Earth observation satellite constellation is going to be launched. India and Singapore has done a ministerial roundtable conference, which has been held to strengthen the strategic partnership between two countries. The Parliamentary Committee on External Affairs has published a report on India's strategy in the Indian Ocean region. RBI committee has unveiled a framework for responsible and ethical enablement of artificial intelligence. And lastly, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has mandated local supply chains and data centers for wind turbines. We're also going to discuss place in news, that is Easter Island, along with quick updates for the day. So the very first news, that coral bleaching, again, very important topic for your examination. You must have read about corals in geography and environment. That is why it can be interlinked to paper number 3, environment and ecology, as well as paper number 1, that is geography, right? So coral bleaching is something which has been experienced not just now. We have been experiencing this since few decades, right? So let's look at what exactly was the news all about. So a major marine heat wave incidents has occurred around that particular region. So what exactly is marine heat wave? So we have heard heat waves during the summer seasons with respect to how they are very much harmful in the land ecosystem. So with this rising sea surface temperatures due to the climate change, it has also led to a phenomena what we call as marine heat waves. So again, corals thrive in certain temperature. So if the temperature is rising, again, it is dangerous to them. So that has been the association with respect to why coral bleaching has been happening in that particular region. So the Ningalo Reef in the western coast of Australia has been affected with the rising marine heat wave, right? And it is also a World Heritage Site, very important fact. Then in terms of global context, it is not something new, right? So coral bleaching incidences have been happening in the past. And again, according to the National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration, that is NOAA, it is the fourth mass coral bleaching event which is associated with the problem with this. Again, there are few areas in India which are also undergoing coral bleaching, which of course I'm going to discuss with you, right? Then in terms of the eastern coast of Australia, there we have what we call as a Great Barrier Reef that is also experiencing a coral decline. So these are the few news which are associated with respect to coral bleaching happening around the Australian region. In general, what exactly are corals? Very beautiful creatures you must have seen, right? So corals are basically tiny animals, what we call as coral polyps, right? So coral polyps live in a symbiotic relationship with an algae, what we call as zooxanthellae. So again, symbiotic relationship, it means what? So in your environment and ecology, you must have read about where again two organisms, they live in a symbiotic relationship. They are of different types. Tell me in comments what are the different types of symbiotic relationship. Here it is a mutualism. What is mutualism? Wherein both species get benefit from each other. So the coral polyps are getting benefit from the photosynthesis which has been done by the algae zooxanthellae. So zooxanthellae is giving the 95% of energy and food requirement through the process of photosynthesis to this coral polyps. How does coral polyps help these zooxanthellae? So they are giving them the shelter where again they can live, they can make their living across that small polyps. That is how there is a mutual benefit from each other species, right? That is the idea of mutualism. That is the kind of symbiotic relationship between what we call as coral polyps and zooxanthellae that was asked in UPSC prelims examination, I think 2-3 times, right? So these are the important areas where again UPSC asks questions. Then there are specific conditions across which corals thrive. So again, with respect to the temperature of water, they require 23 to 29 degrees Celsius of temperature range. There is specific amount of salinity of water that is required. There is something shallowness of water is required so that again the sunlight could penetrate, and then again this zooxanthellae can do the process of photosynthesis. In general, also they are very important, and in fact they are called as keystone species in the marine ecosystem. What are keystone species, sir? Keystone species are those kind of a species. If they are taken out from that ecosystem, the entire ecosystem is going to collapse. Right? That's the importance of corals. Right? So corals are very important in maintaining the natural habitat of that particular region where again they are associated, and that has led to development of a lot of aquatic ecosystem around that particular region, right? And they, just like we have rainforests in the land area, corals are called as the rainforests of the sea, right? So these are the few important topics with respect to corals. Then in terms of their importance in the ecosystem, we have seen that again they are referred as rainforest of the sea. Corals reef dissipate much of force of incoming waves. So with this incoming waves dissipation, it is again leading to across the shoreline with the idea of protecting the shores from floods and incidences like that. Then in terms of, they also help the local economy of the region through, of course, there are very beautiful spots of tourism. And then they also produce beneficial chemical compounds, which are used, of course, across different areas and in medicinal properties as well, right? Then what are the threats to these corals? We have seen that again, temperature has been rising with an idea of what we call as marine heat wave. That has been one such reason. Apart from them, there is a demand for fishery resource. That is again leading to the idea of coral getting degraded. Pollution level in the sea, that is due to a lot of garbage dumping and again oil spills. This is also leading to the quality of water across the region where again corals live, it to get degraded, and that is again degrading the whole ecosystem of that particular area. And there are other incidences like coral diseases, tropical storms, tourism recreation, vessel damage, marine debris, and aquatic invasive species. All of these are the threats to corals. Why I'm showing this to you? Because these are the areas from which UPSC frames question in prelims examination, right? Then we are going to see that what all things are associated with an idea of coral bleaching. So again, where does corals gets its color from, right? So the algae zooxanthellae is the one who is providing food and energy to this coral polyps, and these are the ones who are giving such beautiful colors to the coral reefs altogether, right? So in case of, again, very basic understanding, if there are two friends, if there is some kind of a danger and they are living in a mutual relationship where again one is getting benefit from the other is also getting benefit from the other, what happens when the surrounding is dangerous for them? Only one will survive with the kind of environment. What would happen? So the mutualistic understanding would break down. And that is what is happening in the case of this coral bleaching. With the sea surface temperature rising, the mutual relationship between zooxanthellae and this coral polyps is getting shattered away, right? Wherein, if of course, if temperatures are rising and corals need to survive, how can they expect to get support zooxanthellae? And that is the reason where again coral bleaching starts. Again, for an example, this is a very healthy coral where again corals and algae depend on each other to survive. We have seen that is how they get the beautiful color in stressed condition, right? So again, in that mutual relationship, if there is some kind of a stress, what would happen? There would be some disturbance. So this is where the algae start leaving the coral. And if the stress becomes too much harsh, then there is a separation. So that happens with an idea of, and that is what we call as coral bleaching. And that makes this whole area or region vulnerable to the idea of coral bleaching. Right? So two organisms supporting each other with nature getting disturbed. So their mutual relationship is getting divided. And again, that is leading to the idea of what we call as coral bleaching. So that is what is coral bleaching. That is caused due to zooxanthellae, which is giving pigmentation a 90% of nutrition source. And with this breakage of symbiotic relationship, the corals are getting white, and again that we call as coral bleaching. As simple as that. Then it is not something new. It has happened in the past, in the year 1998, 2010, 2014 to 17, and currently we are having the fourth mass bleaching event. Then in terms of causes, what are the natural causes? Sir, हमने देखा कि we have seen there are certain conditions on which these corals thrive and survive. Sea surface temperatures are rising. Again, there are different. What are the reasons for sea surface rising temperature? The greenhouse gas emissions has been increasing, leading to the idea of climate change happening. Again, we are experiencing a 1-2 degree rise every century, and that is again leading to the idea of sea surface temperature getting increased. Then we have marine heat waves, which was the reason of this particular bleaching happening in the west coast of Australia. Then, of course, we have read in geography the events of El Nino and La Nina. Right? Tell me, what is El Nino? So again, that is also associated with leading to the overheating of that water in that particular region. Then the shifting of ocean currents, again due to the idea of climate change, ocean acidification due to the pollution in the, let's say, ocean's ecosystem. Then the sedimentation due to what? The waste dumping, the idea of sea that is leading to trawling, right? So again, it is leading to the reduced photosynthesis. And again, if reduced photosynthesis, there would be coral bleaching. Why? Because zooxanthellae will not be able to do photosynthesis. And again, coral bleaching is automatically bound to happen. So these are the few reasons which are associated with the idea of coral bleaching. Then we have, you must have read in geography also, there are coral reefs are divided into 3 types based on the location where they are found, right? So one is called as fringing reef. So basically these are directly attached to the shore area of the coast, right? And they're the most common type of coral reef, and they grow near coastline, and they have a few lagoons around them. Then we have barrier reef. So barrier reef, again, what is a barrier? Separating 2 specific regions. So again, they separated from land by a lagoon. So of course, is a land area, some narrow body of water, and then we have what we call as coral. So they are larger than the fringing reef, and they, of course, they are parallel to the coastline, not along the coastline. Along the coastline, we have fringing reef. And then example is the Great Barrier Reef is an example of what we call as the barrier reef, because the name itself suggests, and it is found in which region of Australia? In the eastern coastal region of Australia. Then we have atolls, right? So they are basically ring-shaped kind of a reef, and they are surrounded by a central lagoon. Basically in the mid-oceanic region they are found. And they are found sunken along the sunken volcanic islands, and generally they are found in open oceans. So that is the idea. Based upon the location and type, the corals are divided into 3 types. Where are these found in India? So in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, we have fringing reef. In the Gulf of Mannar region, in Tamil Nadu, we have fringing reef. In Gulf of Kutch region, Gujarat, we have fringing reef. Again, atolls. Again, Lakshadweep is a kind of an island. Again, in the mid-oceanic region. So again, where do we find as atolls? So in terms of India, these are the locations where do we find corals. Again, important for your prelims examination. Gulf of Kutch, Lakshadweep Islands. Somewhere we also find the Western Ghats region. There are some kind of corals which are found. Gulf of Mannar, the Palk Bay region, Andaman Islands, and the Nicobar Islands. So these are the prominent regions in India where do we find corals thriving, right? So we had a coral bleaching incident in the Gulf of Mannar region also, right? So that is a major important facts related to corals. Any question? Yes, let's discuss. So in prelims examination, I just put it down, very old question, but again relevant in terms of the context. Why and where are these coral reefs found? Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Gulf of Kutch, Gulf of Mannar, and Sundarbans. Right, so tell me in comments what would be the answer of this particular question. In terms of mains, discuss the significance of coral reef ecosystem and their role in climate change mitigation and adaptation. That is the benefits of coral, what we have discussed in the initial few slides. And then what are the consequences of coral bleaching on marine ecosystem and coastal communities? Very direct question related to the topic, right? So that's all for the topic. Now, the next important topic, India's first commercial Earth observation satellite constellation is going to be launched, and it is somewhere we are exploring in terms of space the involvement of private sector. So again, it is led by Pixel Space, that is a private company, led again selected by Indian Space, that is a government organization. So again, very important topic for you, GS paper number 3. Science and technology, again subtopic coming under awareness in the fields of space, directly mentioned in the syllabus, right? So let's look at what exactly we understand by Earth observation satellite constellation. Earth observation basically means the satellite is going to observe the Earth, right? So that is the idea of Earth observation. In terms of satellite constellation, it means that again it is not just going to be one satellite. There is again in this particular program, there are 12 satellites who are going to simultaneously observe the Earth from different angles and different orbits. That is why we call it as a satellite constellation, right? So they cover more area, they revisit the same point more frequently, and sometimes even few hours instead of days. So it is of course going to give data which are more timely, continuous, and reliable. So that is the idea of Earth observation satellite constellation. Then what kind of project it is, right? Where again we have seen that again the private sectors are getting into the space exploration area, right? So in this particular project, there has been a collaboration between the government and the private sectors. That is why we call it as a PPP type of a project, where again from the government we have in space, which is again doing the task of supervising and supporting the private sector in this particular project. And there are 4 private companies who have collaborated together, which are led by Pixel Pixel Space India, right? So Pixel Space India, along with these other 3 private companies under the supervision of InSpace, is going to lead that particular project, and that is why we call it as a public-private partnership kind of a project. Then, in terms of how exactly it is going to work, as I discussed, that again it is going to be what we call as a satellite constellation. So again, in this particular project, there would be a group of satellites. So 12 satellites are going to be working or observing the Earth, just like 12 super cameras, right? And they are going to collect data about Earth day and night. And and it is also an all-weather kind of a satellite, irrespective of the weather, irrespective of the condition, it is going to observe Earth. So it is having different kind of a sensors. For example, the panchromatic sensor, which is going to give us a very high resolution black and white images of the Earth, what is going to observe. Then we have multispectral. Multispectral means it is going to capture the areas of Earth from multiple angles, that is different colors to study vegetation, water, etc. It is also called as hyperspectral, that it detects even very tiny differences in the materials. And lastly, it is going to have a synthetic aperture radar, which is working through clouds and at night as well. So these are the few sensors which are going to be there in that particular satellites under this particular mission. Then what is the application of it? Again, if satellites are going, so they're observing Earth. So how it is going to help us? Number one, in terms of climate change monitoring, in terms of how glaciers are getting melted, how deforestation is happening, that is also all going to be observed by the particular satellite. Then we have, it is also going to help us with this climate change monitoring. They can predict cyclones, floods, earthquakes, because they're observing satellite continuous manner. Any small change they can detect, and they can pre-warn us with respect to the probable disasters. Then we have, in terms of agriculture planning, they are again, because they're observing Earth, the natural vegetation, the idea of cyclones, flood, all of this is also going to be helping in terms of guiding farmer on crop health, irrigation, and yield. And lastly, of course, in the area of geospatial intelligence, where again mapping the region for defense and city planning, right? These are the applications, and again it is going to be deployed in the next upcoming 4 years. That has been the major plan with respect to this particular mission. Then in terms of how it is going to boost India's private sector in the space exploration. Currently, Indian space economy is somewhere around $8 billion. So with this idea, the government is planning to have a $100 billion of space economy by 2040. That has in the vision. These kind of data you can use in conclusions or introduction of your answers with the theme around this particular topic. Then we have in terms of private players, approximately 200 space startups have emerged in the domain of space technology. Example is how a Vikram S rocket is again coming under a private sector startup. Then policy in terms of space area, we have Indian Space Policy 2023. 100% FDI is allowed for easier, that is making easier private companies to join the idea of space, right? So these are the few areas with respect to how we are boosting private sector participation in the domain of space. Then, in terms of how important private sector participation is in the space sector domain, let's go and discuss. Of course, it is going to create economic growth because it is again attracting investment, and with investment coming economy, it is going to be creating the idea of growth, and with growth, economy is going to develop. Then we have, it is going to make India self-reliant, where again we are developing critical technology indigenously, ensuring data sovereignty, and it is of course going to enhance the security of India. And lastly, ISRO's task is going to lessen down. If there are private players who are again entering into the domain of space, ISRO can again diversify and look into other major areas of space. For example, it will allow ISRO to concentrate on advanced and long-term missions. So again, it is going to lessen the burden of ISRO working. That is a basic idea with respect to how significant private sector participation is there in the space domain, right? So any question which has been asked in examination of UPSC which can be linked to the topic? Yes. India has made significant strides in space technology, but greater private sector participation is essential for further growth. Discuss. Directly linking to the topic, that how with this idea of, again, you can quote this as an example where again satellites are also launched by private companies, again through PPP based model. Then we have discussed India's achievements in the field of space science and technology, how the application of this technology has helped India in socio-economic development. Again, you can develop, you can talk about, this is also an achievement where again we are collaborating with private sector to explore space. That can also be used as an example in this particular question, right? So for the questions which I'm sharing with you, please try and attempt them in answer writing. Because why? It is important because these topics have been asked in examination. But if you have explored the previous year questions, many times certain themes get repeated again. Why? Because they are in contemporary relevance, right? That is the area where again, even if the questions are of previous year, you're going to attempt them and you're going to write them in a contemporary scenario. That is something which I'm requesting you to do, right? Then we have the next topic, that is India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable Conference has been held recently, where again both countries have collaborated, the ministers have collaborated on few areas in which we are going to jointly work towards each other. Again, important for your GS paper number 2, that is International Relations, India and its around neighborhood region. What exactly the region looks like? So again, if you look at the map of world, if this is India and this is the Southeast Asian region, Singapore, again, a very important country, this spot is very important in terms of the strategic location. And that is why collaboration between these two countries is very important. Please locate them in map, right? And see important areas of sea, important physical features, right, around that particular region. Then we have what exactly has been done with respect to the conference which has been held, right? So we have decided that we are going to strengthen the partnership and cooperation between the two countries. Number one, we are going to explore advanced manufacturing, where again we are going to improve high-tech factories and production system. Again, basic facts, you're just going to write it down in terms of if any question is there around India-Singapore relation, around trade, and around energy cooperation, around ASEAN as a region, you can use this content in your answers, right? Then we have, in terms of connectivity, we have been planning better transport and trade links by sea, air, and digital means. Then we have been going with the idea of digitization of economy. India is having Digital India mission, and again, we're also collaborating in terms of the digitization, where again stronger tech collaboration like secure data sharing and fintech systems is going to be discussed. Then in the areas of healthcare, we are going to share medical research, hospital tech, and training. In the areas of skill development, training workers in modern and demand-driven skills. In terms of sustainability, very important, we are going to have we are going to complete by 2030 the 17 sustainable goal targets, right? So of course, if we are going to strive, if we're going to see the mother earth healthy in the coming future, we are going to work towards sustainability, right? So again, in the areas of sustainability, again, promoting the idea of clean energy, climate changes solution, green technology, all of these have been discussed, and again, both countries are going to collaborate on this particular parameters, right? And they have also identified new initiatives and have highlighted the role of private sector in this whole both countries collaboration, right? Then what do we have in terms of India Singapore relationship journey? Let's see one by one what has happened. Brief in the understanding is going to give you a glimpse of the entire relation what India has with Singapore. So in the year 1965, India recognized Singapore's independence. In the year 2005, we signed comprehensive economic cooperation agreement that has boosted trade and investment between the two countries. We have intensified this idea of cooperation again in the year 2025 by upgrading to from partnership to becoming a strategic partnership. Again, very common international relation terms. In 2024, we have been becoming the comprehensive strategic partnership, a deeper and a broader cooperation between two countries. And this year, 2025, right? So we will be celebrating 60 years of diplomatic ties with Singapore. That is why this particular country is very important for the upcoming examination. Then we have, in terms of which areas of cooperation have been there with respect to India and Singapore in general. In terms of trade and investment, India's largest Asian trade partner is Singapore, right? And it is sixth largest globally in terms of India's trading partner at a global level. In the areas of fintech and digitalization, UPI Pay Now is again is there between India and Singapore for instant cross-border transfer of payments and again money remittances. Then we have RuPay cards are accepted in Singapore and again in the areas of fintech. Then in terms of there are multilateral institutions where again both of the countries have collaborated in the domain of International Solar Alliance, Global Biofuel Alliance. Then in the areas of defense, very important, these kind of exercises, they are asked very frequently by UPSC in prelims examination. They give you match the following. They give you the name of country and a military exercise. They ask you to match the following, right? So between India and Singapore, we have Agni Warrior with under army, and under navy we have Simbex. In the areas of people to people type, very important, of Indian diaspora, right? So 9% of Singapore population is from India, and Tamil, right? That is how India's culture is not just there, it has been there across international areas, where again Singapore has recognized Tamil as its one of the official languages, right? So these are the very basic areas of cooperation between India and Singapore. Then why exactly this conference and collaboration between two countries of the bilateral relations is very important for India? Because it is Singapore, again, a part of ASEAN region. So very important, it is a gateway for India to ASEAN region. Why? Because the growing influence of China in that particular region, right? We have discussed in the last few news today discussion about the idea of centrality of ASEAN region, right? So Singapore is acting like a bridge to Southeast Asian region, helping India in trade, connectivity, security under the Act East policy and Indo-Pacific strategy in terms of trusted partner, because Singapore has been a trusted partner to India, where again during the COVID-19 pandemic it helped us in terms of sending medical aid and oxygen, right? And India has also sent vaccines to Singapore under the Vaccine Maitri mission. In terms of strategic balance in Asia, again, because we have seen that again, India's access to Shanghai naval base is helping India to maintain the presence in the region and again counterbalance the Chinese influence growing around the Southeast Asian region. Then, in terms of what all questions has been asked on the topic, India's engagement with Southeast Asia has been a defining feature of its foreign policy in recent years, discussed in the light of evolving geopolitical scenario in the Indo-Pacific region. So this news can be linked with respect to, we can then mention about the ministerial conference between the two countries. We can talk about countering China as a result of the particular ministerial conference. Then again, Indo-Pacific strategy, we can talk about the naval access which India has around the region. So these are the few topics which can be written down in this particular answer. The next question. So recently, a parliamentary committee on external affairs has given a report about evaluation of India's Indian Ocean strategy. Again, this is the Indian Ocean region. I'll again showcase you why it is important. So again, this whole region is very much important, both strategically and in maintaining international trade relations, right? So important for your GS paper number 2, that is India and its neighborhood and global groupings. And again in paper number 3, under internal security, maintaining maritime security around the region, right? So before that, let's look at that in that Indian Ocean region, where does India has a strategic presence and where does China has a presence. And that is why the Parliamentary Committee on External Affairs has given the importance that again we are going to re-strategize that how we are going to see that Indian Ocean region, right? So Indian Ocean region, very vast, right? So in terms of the ports, where again how China has been making pearl of strings around the region. Example, we have India has the orange part is showing India has a Sitwe port. China has a port over there. In terms of Sri Lanka, China is making Hambantota port, right? In that region of Djibouti, where is in the Eastern African region, China has been making a port, right? So these are the important areas and ports which are of India and China, right? So that makes this whole region very important. Then, in terms of why this region of Indian Ocean is very important. Number one, in terms of geostrategic importance. So the coastline is very vast, approximately 11,000 kilometers. And again, it is habitating approximately 1,300 islands, right? And in terms of economic zones, India has 2.4 million square kilometers of economic zone in that particular Indian Ocean region, right? In terms of a global level, why it is important that it is the third largest ocean of the world, and it has approximately 35 countries around that particular region, and it is having 1/3 of the global population. These are the strategic importance of the region. Then in terms of economic importance, 90% of trade of India passes through that Indian Ocean region. Very important, right? And that is why we have been building ports around that particular region across different countries. Then we have most of the oil import of India is happening across that Indian Ocean route. That is why it is very important in terms of India. And for a global level, 50% of global container traffic is happening around that Indian Ocean region, which is having 1/3 of bulk cargo and 2/3 of oil shipments. Basic facts that is showcasing the importance of this particular region. Then in terms of ecological importance, this particular region is having the warmest of the world's ocean, which is very important that it is leading to ecologically and making the region very biodiversity rich. It is supporting fisheries, coral reefs, marine biodiversity, and again playing a key role in global climate system. So these are the important areas that why exactly on economic terms and in terms of environment, in terms of geostrategic areas importance, why this region is important for India. Then the committee has flagged few challenges with respect to this particular region. Again, a same area that again Chinese influence around that region. I have shown you the area that again how China has been making ports around the strategic location in that particular region. So with this, the committee has told that again, with the geopolitical tensions rising across the world or in that particular region, China is building ports. And again, it is investing in the infrastructure under projects like the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI), creating string of pearls, that is a network of strategic points we have shown in the map, right? And it has recently opened a military base in Djibouti and growing ties with Pakistan. That is making that again India needs to re-strategize that again how it is seeing that Indian Ocean region. Then, in terms of maritime security threats, we have seen that again the issue of biopiracy, sea piracy, terrorism, illegal fishing, smuggling, all of these have been happening around that particular region. Then we have infrastructure gaps because there are very small islands and small coastal states which lack specific modern ports, surveillance system, and disaster response capacity. This is where India is again the committee has suggested that again we need to re-strategize that again how we are going to see this entire Indian Ocean region. Very important facts. Then, in terms of what this committee has suggested, the committee has told that again we have a Sagar initiative, that is the security and growth in for all in the region. We are going to change that to the idea of Mahasagar. That is, we are going to expand the focus from the ideas of growth to sustainable growth, trade growth, and shared security across the region. That has been the committee's suggestion. Then, in terms of deepening multilateral ties around the region, because India, again, ASEAN is a region in that particular area. So, again, India is going to use certain multilateral institutions where, again, it is a part to leverage its position in that particular region, right? We have Quad, we have Indian Ocean Rim Association, we have BIMSTEC. So all of these are going to we are going to deepen the ties around this multilateral institutions, which is going to help us for security cooperation and economic integration across that particular region. In terms of engagement of diaspora and promoting the idea of culture, we are going to use Indian communities across the region, which can act as a bridge between diplomacy and trade. That is where is a very important topic of your syllabus. We read about Indian diaspora because these people have a very important role to play in maintaining diplomatic relation between two countries. Then again, India is also using soft power. What are soft power? Cricket, yoga, Bollywood, movies, anything like that, right? So we are going to use cultural diplomacy, that is soft power, like films, yoga festivals, to strengthen bonds across countries in that Indian Ocean region. In terms of rule-based maritime order, because security of the region is very important. So again, we are going to stand by United Nations Convention on Law of the Sea, that is law of the ocean, right? And a very important factor in this examination. And again, we are going to promote the idea of Asian centrality, because what we have seen in the Asian region, the centrality, that is a group, it is a group of 10 countries, where again, they are their association have been a major concern, where again, with the global tension is having around the world, some of the countries are supporting China, some countries supporting US. So that is why the Asian centrality is again a question. That is something which we are going to strategically look upon. So these are the few recommendations which has been made by this parliamentary committee. Then why it is a very important region for India? Again, few areas, few initiatives you're going to read by yourself. That again, in the terms of strategic initiatives, what do we have? In terms of maritime security and defense, what do we have? And in terms of multilateral engagements, what do we have? Why I'm showing you this is very important. Why? Because around these topics, there could be probable questions in your prelims examination. Then again, they can ask you about important associations across that particular region. Then, in terms of what has been asked in the previous years, with growing Chinese assertiveness in the South China Sea and increasing forays into the Indian Ocean, India must redefine its maritime security strategy. Discuss. Very interlinked to the topic. Critically examine India's role as a net security provider in the Indian Ocean region. Again, very important. Indian diaspora has an important role to play in Southeast Asia's economic development and India's Act East policy discussed. So again, this is where all themes of the question are around that Indian Ocean region, where again we can use the kind of a content, where again we can suggest, because again as it has been suggested by the parliamentary committee, so that can be your suggestions also in your answers. Moving on to the next topic. So again, we all have been knowing that again how artificial intelligence has been going around, and again what has been India's stance on it. So recently, Reserve Bank of India has proposed a framework for responsible and ethical enablement of artificial intelligence. That is a short form of free AI, right? So it has given us 7 mantras across how we are going to use or integrate artificial intelligence in the financial sector domain. Again, important for your GS number, paper number 3, economy and science and tech. Right. So what are these vision? So again, the Reserve Bank of India has created this particular framework where again, it is basically a kind of a toolkit, because there are different kind of financial sectors in India. We have banks, we have insurance companies, we have stock markets, we have payment companies. All of them has to use artificial intelligence in a way which is not leading to any disturbance around that particular in the domain of their working, right? So this is something where again this AI toolkit is going to help down these financial sector institutions. RBI wants, because why it is wanting, because the growing influence of AI, right? So we need to use it in a safe, fair, and an accountable manner. That has been the prime reason of RBI releasing this 7 mantras, that again how we are going to integrate artificial intelligence in the financial sector domain. What are the 7 mantras? So trust the foundation of AI, right? People first approach, innovation over restraint, where again we are going to use or foster responsible innovation purpose. I'm going to discuss all these points in the later half. Fairness and equity, accountability, understandable by design, safety, resilience, and sustainability. All of these are the 7 mantras which RBI has discussed in order to inculcate the safe use of artificial intelligence in the financial sector domain. I'll discuss one by one all of them. So, what strategy they have discussed? They have discussed we are going to have a 2-step strategy. One, we are going to innovate that how we are going to use artificial intelligence, because we have seen that again how India has not signed any agreement with the use of artificial intelligence, where again we have a European Union agreement which is going to be coming up. India is not signatory to that. So again, India is telling again this technology is very new. We are going to explore it. So this is where RBI has also made sure that again we are going to innovate, and this is going to help that how we are growing along with this artificial intelligence. They have told that we need to have a shared infrastructure, right? So all financial players will have easy access to high quality data and computing power, which is very much important for artificial intelligence, right? So that has been discussed, and it can be interlinked to India's AI mission, that is AI Kosh. So infrastructure support is going to be provided to all of these financial institutions, number one. Then we have AI innovation sandbox, because it is something new. So something which has to be tested. If some missile is going to be launched, we are launching it from in a very small pilot basis, or again we are launching it and again testing it at a safer place. In a similar manner, we are going to create a simulation environment where again we are going to test certain AI features in this financial domain, and that is what we call as AI sandbox. That is a safe testing ground where again companies can try new AI tools without risking real customers' money. Then we have AI policy guidance, that again RBI is going to clear set that what are the rules with respect to use of AI in the financial sector domain. Then we have institutional capacity building, where again we are, of course, this technology is new. So again, people are going to be trained, they are going to be made aware about this technology, right? Then in terms of relaxed rules for lower risk AI, because some areas AI is of very low risk. For example, Traditionally we had what, call centers, where again if some fraud has happened with your banking system, you can go and call. So nowadays what you're seeing, nowadays most of these customer care calls has a first level of AI interaction, where again there's an AI chatbot or maybe AI person who is talking to you. And this is where, for such kind of small risk AI, where again there is no risk of any let's say a data theft or any kind of financial risk, we can, there is going to be some lesson rules, some less stricter rules with respect to low risk AI use. That has been the idea. So this is one such approach, where again number one, we are fostering innovation. And the second approach is that again we are going to mitigate all the risk which is going to come for us in terms of use of AI in this financial domain. Right. Number one, there has to be, whenever any AI policy is going to be launched, that has to be approved by every bank or insurance must have a top level approval for all AI plans. Then we have AI in product approval. New AI based services must pass extra safety checks, because how, that is why we have said that again you can use that, how AI sandboxes where we can test before actual launching it in the financial sector. Then we have cyber security boost, because with this AI data and again cyber security will be at risk. So we are going to create stronger systems to detect and report hacking attempts. Then we have AI lifecycle governance, because once we implement AI, we need to constantly monitor it. So it is not just like that we are going to only implement AI and then again leave it. We are going to constantly monitor it, that we call as AI lifecycle governance. And lastly, we have consumer awareness, because at the end of the day, consumers are associated with this financial sector. So consumers also need to be aware about how we are integrating and using AI in this financial sector domain. So these are the two prolonged strategy which has been suggested by RBI under this particular program. Then they're also telling that again why it is very important, because we know AI has a lot of risk. So, but with a controlled environment, we can mitigate such risk. For example, data privacy breaches, algorithm bias, market manipulation, cyber attacks, governance failure. So all of these are the risks which are associated with the use of AI in this particular sector. So this is where RBI policy, that is two prolonged strategies, is going to help cover all such risks which are associated with the use of artificial intelligence in this financial sector domain. It is very self-understood things. Right. So that is why it is very important. And again, how RBI's new program or new provision is going to help in terms of a very safe and risk-free use or risk-free integration of artificial intelligence in this financial sector domain. Any question? Yes. In 2020, there was a question: what are the main challenges in adopting AI in India? How can AI be used to achieve inclusive growth? Again, AI has a multiple areas of its intervention, wherein there could be one such sector, that is the financial sector, right? Again, tell me what are the other uses of AI in different sectors of the economy. Then we have discuss the advantages and risk associated with AI in governance and economy. So again, you can also use in terms of economy, you can talk about like how AI has been used, and again there are few checks and risks associated with it, and again how RBI has intervened and make a program, that again how we are going to inculcate this artificial intelligence in this financial sector. Moving on to the next topic. So MNRE, that is mandates for supply chain and data centers for wind turbines. So Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has talked about, we have wind turbines, all of us know how exactly they are going to operate, what kind of wind turbines we are going to have. These rules have been changed by this Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So again, they have made an approved list of models and manufacturers of these wind turbines. Again, coming under paper number 3, environment, ecology, and again science and tech. So what exactly is the new mandate or new program policy change which has been brought up by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy? What they have told that again, earlier all the wind turbines what we used to have it was coming under revised list of models and manufacturers since 2018, and that ensured that again this particular thing has ensured that again whatever wind turbines do we have which are operating within the country has to be of good quality. What has changed? What they have made? It has made an updated and renamed system. This name has been changed to approved list of models and manufacturers wind, that we call as ALMM wind, right? So what exactly is approved list? Kya hai ye? What is approved list? It means that all the wind turbines which we are going to have in this renewable energy sector domain, that will have to pass a certain quality, safety, and local manufacturing rules which can be installed in India. So again, they have made sure that again, whatever turbines is going to be there, which are going to be used in this wind energy production, they are going to be they have to be number one, indigenous. They have to be of certain quality, safety, and again, going with the idea of make in India. That is a major thing what has been done. Let's discuss more. What are the key features of this particular new change? So what they have made sure that a domestic supply chain has to be there. All the wind turbines that is going to be installed in this India, everything of the turbine has to be sourced from India itself, starting from the blades, from towers, from gearbox, from generator, from special bearings. All of this has to be indigenously developed. Again, going by the idea of Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Then we have data localization, because we have seen that again, the energy which is getting produced, of course, data has to be there. All of data needs to be localized. So again, it is also leading to the idea of protecting it from cyber security threats, right? So the operational data has to be stored within India, and control centers should be located in India itself. Then we have, it has also told that again, more research and development has to be done in this particular area, where again manufacturers are made mandatory that you need to have a research and development centers within 1 year. Then we have quality standards. Helmet, there is a BIS mark. So all of these equipments which are going to be used in these wind turbines has to pass a standard that will be given by this BIS certification by September 2026. But there are few exemptions. Some of the projects which has already been approved, they are not going to be having such kind of a conditions. And secondly, new manufacturers who are very much new in this whole wind energy sector, they are also exempted for a certain period of time, so that they are getting encouraged to enter into this renewable energy sector. These are the two exceptions which has been made while implementing this new feature. Then we have, in terms of India's wind energy sector, very basic things. It is ranking, India ranks 4th largest installed wind power capacity. Current share growth we have seen from 21 gigawatt to 51.3 gigawatt by June 25. We have a potential of 1164 gigawatts, and we have a target to supply 10% of global wind energy equipment demand by 2030. Basic facts could be used in an examination of mains answer writing or in prelims question. What is its significance? Right? Very simple. Atmanirbhar Bharat, going by the idea of Make in India, because all the turbines, every material which is going to be used has to be made, has to be sourced from India itself. Then it is going to protect critical infrastructure and data, because data localization is happening. Then we have, it is going to, because quality checks are there. So again, the quality of turbine and reliability on this system is going to be improved. It is also encouraging innovation and competitiveness in wind energy manufacturing sector. So all of these are significance related to the new change in policy. Any question? Yes, in 2022 there was a question. What are the main bottlenecks in upstream and downstream process of wind energy system in India? Right? In this we can discuss about that how this new law has been changed with respect to going by the idea of Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, and again making this whole system more self-independent in this particular area. Then we are going to cover the place in news, that is Easter Island. So please locate if this is the South American region, right? This is somewhere here. That is the Easter Island. This has been in news because, of course, the rising sea level which has been happening in the region. It is predicted that by 2080 the complete area is going to get submerged. So again, with respect to basic features of the island, right? So it is coming under the Polynesian island. It again west of Chile island, right? And basically it is a triangular volcanic island, and it has three extinct volcanoes. It is having a subtropical maritime climate, and again, very, very, very important, a UNESCO World Heritage Site is located in that area that we call as Rubanui National Park. So please go and locate them in the map. These kind of places which comes up in news makes that thing important for the examination. Then the quick updates for today. Perpetual tolling, that is the Public Account Committee of the Parliament has criticized this perpetual tolling. What exactly is this? So if roads are getting built, of course, government is spending some money, and again, then only roads are getting constructed. And that is why, to recover the money which has been used in construction of that particular road, that is getting recovered through by charging people who are using such area, by charging them toll fees, right? Once the amount has been recovered by taking the toll for some period of time, then what should happen? The toll should stop. So that was happening till the year 2008. In 2008, there was an amendment which was being made, and they make sure that again, even after the amount has been recovered, then also we are going to collect the toll. And that toll is going to increase by 3% every year. And that amount which is going to be collected will be deposited in this Consolidated Fund of India. But now, why exactly this Public Account Committee has criticized this whole thing? We have seen that in spite of the toll getting collected, the condition of the highways, the condition of these roads are not good. So even if after recovery of that toll, even if we are paying that money, so the people should at least expect good amount of roads. That has been the criticism what has been told. This system of collecting toll even after recovering the cost of the project, and then also you're not giving us good maybe let's say highways or roads, that is incorrect. And that is where criticism has come down from Public Account Committee of India. That has been a major news with respect to this particular topic. The next thing, Indian Olympic Association has approved India's bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games. This was the news altogether. Very important, because Commonwealth Games and sports has been there a part of questions in the last few years of examination. So we are going to discuss very basic things. Where was it started? In the 1930 in Hamilton, Canada. And it is the second largest multi-sport event, which is having 71 nations participation and territories. Basic facts: when what is founded, how exactly it is getting recognized, what is the status. It is basically that IOA is basically a non-profit, and again it is registered under Societies Registration Act of 1860. Its objective is to promote and protect Olympic movement in India, and governance is being done by 32-member executive council, which is headed by the President of India, right? So that is the basic facts around the Indian Olympic Association, right? Basic facts. And it has just approved that again India's bid to host 2013 Commonwealth Games. The next topic, NASA. Again, Mr. Trump has been doing a lot of things. So he has told that again NASA has one satellite that is called as Orbiting Carbon Observatory Satellite. So satellite which has been observing the Earth about the amount of carbon dioxide which is present in the ecosystem of Earth. He has told that again we are going to shut down that particular mission, which was tracking the carbon dioxide and plant health. Right. So basically, it has launched 2 satellites under the program. So basically, the first satellite was launched in the year 2014, and second on the International Space Station by 2019. And the kind of Hubble technology is being used in this particular observation, which is giving us most accurate CO2 monitoring across the ecosystem of Earth. And it's in terms of its importance, it is tracking carbon dioxide sources and sinks. It has shown us the Amazon forest is emitting more carbon dioxide than it is absorbing. The boreal forest absorbs more than what it emits. So these kind of information was provided by this observatory satellite, which was very much required in order to plan the climate change actions with the growing climate change happening across the globe, right? It has also helped in terms of monitoring the plant photosynthesis by using the glow technology, which is helping us to basically talk about where there will be drought in some regions, what kind of food shortage prediction. All of these are the important areas which this carbon observatory satellite of USA was helping, which has been proposed. And again, Mr. Trump has told that we are going to shut down this particular project. The next question: two rare forms of mushrooms have been found in Telangana. Again, these kind of questions very important because the biodiversity part is coming into picture. They can ask you such kind of question that again, blue pink gill shuttlecock again are which type of species, right? So again, they are mushrooms. So basic qualities: the blue pink gill type of mushroom is native to New Zealand. Basic color, found in which area? Shuttlecock mushroom, found in which area? Right. So any unique features, very important facts for your prelims examination. Please go and read them. Right. Why? Because there have been questions around these species in the prelims examination. The next topic: National Green Tribunal. Again, all of you must be knowing it. Its headquarters is in New Delhi. It was observed that, of course, there is a mandate that this amount of people are going to be there in the National Green Tribunal. That was not fulfilled, and that is why the Union Ministry of Environment Ministry has issued an order of appointing 2 judicial members and 4 expert members to this NGT, which is currently functioning below its sanction strength. So basic facts you must have read in polity about this particular body is very important. That again, it was established under the National Green Tribunal Act of 2000, and again, it is authority which is adjudicating or giving judgments respect to environmental cases. It has a power of a civil court under the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, and it is guided by the principles of natural justice and not by the CPC and the Evidences Act of. Then it has the members have a tenure of 5 years, and again, all the members are not eligible to get reappointed. The chairperson can be either a Supreme Court judge or a Chief Justice of High Court. So basic facts important. Again, as his body comes up in news, these kind of bodies are very probable in the prelims examination. The next topic: envelope dimer epitope. Again, scientists have discovered a new kind of antibody for what? For dengue, right? That has been discovered by this particular scientist. So researchers have identified that EDE antibodies are a key to dengue immunity, right? So again, with the rising cases of, because we are having a season of monsoon, we are having waterlogging situations. With this water lagging, they are breeding site of mosquitoes, and these mosquitoes are again causing dengue, chikungunya, malaria, right? So very important as a civil servant, if you are posted in a district where again the rising cases of dengue, chikungunya, malaria are rising, what kind of policy changes or what kind of policies we are going to make to stop the problem, right? And this is where we need to have basic understanding of basic diseases, right? And that's the utility of reading basic biology in your civil service examination preparation. That is why you're going to read them, right? So basic facts. So how exactly is this, what exactly is this antibody functioning with respect to dengue fever? We are going to discuss about them. So these are basic antibodies which is neutralizing the dengue virus. So very important. So just they can ask you, ki envelope dimer epitope was recently seen in news. It is what? Again, an antibody to what? Dengue virus. Basic fact. Then Project Kusha, that is a program long range surface to air missile, right? So it with Operation Sindoor, the Indian Air Force has pushed this particular project. That again, we are going to fast track the project which we have been planning. That is a long range surface to air missile, right? So it has been approved in 2022, and it is being led by Defense Research DRDO, which is again going to be an indigenous long-range air defense missile system. So again, we are having that. Again, there could be different type of variations with respect to the missile. Some initially we are planning in phase 1 that again we are going to have this M1, M2, N3 ranges of missile, 150, 250, 350, and again for the naval we are going to have 200 3 kilometer missile range. And in phase 2 we are planning to intercept a range of more than 600 kilometers. Then lastly, Border Security Force. Recently, Ministry of Home Affairs has talked about the first ever cadre review of this Border Security Force. So again, a body, again important for you from the topic of, let's say, prelims examination, and also a topic for your internal security of GS paper number 3. So basic facts: that when was it formed, why it was formed. It was formed in the year 1965 post the Pakistan attack in Gujarat. It is coming under CAPF under Minister of Home Affairs, and it is the largest border guarding force at a global level. The deployment, they are basically deployed in the borders with Pakistan and Bangladesh, and some in the left-wing extremist areas. What is their role? They are maintaining peace across cross-border crimes and securing the border areas. And they, in the wartime situation, they are holding the region till the time army is arriving over there. They are assisting army in their attacks. They're guarding the prisoners of war, and they're protecting the simple lines, right? So this is the basic information around this border security force. So with this, we come to an end for today's discussion. So now all important questions which could be framed from the topic what we have discussed today will be popping up in your screen. It is very important. We have read the topic. We have understood the discussion. Now it's time that again we are going to complete the cycle of current affairs by solving the questions. So again, please solve the questions. Please post in the comment section what were your answers. Lastly, Vision IS has come up with a digital current affairs platform, which is a one-stop solution for all current affairs related problem in this examination. Please go and explore and make well use of this website. And lastly, a very happy Independence Day to all of you, and all the very best, and thank you so much.